Hey, we're in the process of doing this series of videos all about our vision. And this has been the product of months, years even, actually, of us really digging into God, discussing together, looking at prophetic words, and really, painting a picture of what is God asking us to build as a church, not just as pastors or leadership team, but as the whole church, the whole congregation. What are we building here? What are we here for? And today I'm here with Mel and John Tisregato, our amazing youth pastors. And we want to talk about the youth. We want to talk about teenagers and this whole kind of adolescent age bracket. And so I'll read this statement. We have a thriving youth ministry packed with teenagers who are living radical lives of pursuing God, being impacted by the love of God, and leading their friends to Jesus. Guys, it's so clear to me that you are passionate about this age group. You are, well, for starters, you're pretty much the coolest youth pastors. Like, I want to be in youth. But why is this such a critical stage of development? Like, why do we believe in not just kind of, shoving the youth in the corner so the adults can worship, but actually investing meaningfully in them? Why do we do that? Why is it so important?
Yeah, it's interesting because even outside of church, everyone's watching the next generation. What are we going to call them? Gen Z, millennials, whatever they're going to be. And then everyone's kind of watching what is describing this new generation. And so the adolescent generation is so exciting because they're growing up with different parenting and technology and the way the world is. They always come out so distinct and so different, and they push cultural boundaries. And I think that's what makes it so exciting, even about our vision statement and where we see our youth in Catch the Fire, just living radical lives for Jesus, because they're already set up to be radical, different to their parents, different to their grandparents. And then the other cool thing about it is just where they're at with social media and technology and just the future. Like, they're already pushing so many boundaries. And so if they meet with God, encounter God, and they're living radical lives on fire for Jesus, they can bring that into society and culture.
Yeah. In some ways, we are building the church. Our generation, and we're all building the church. And if we prepare the youth for this is what church is, this is what the Church of Christ. I'm not talking a specific church. I'm talking this is what being a Christian is. They will carry that mantle of being passionate about Jesus, and we do need to somewhat prepare them to carry. I believe that as generations go on, they need to carry the gospel even, higher and higher and higher, and way more radical than we do, because to prepare all of us for the return of Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they need to know who Jesus is. They need to understand that the gospel is falling in love with Jesus, and Jesus knowing them. And that way, if we prepare them in the essence of who we are as Christians, as Christ, like, they would just carry that, into the future. And that is so exciting that it doesn't stop with us. It doesn't stop with our age. It doesn't stop, when we go. We are now have the seed of the future just coming in and just taking it, until Christ comes back.
Yeah.
I love that. We obviously, if we've chatted, the three of us, we all grew up in church and in Christian families. But there were moments in our lives where it was actually really important for us to have our own kind of salvation moments, right? Like those encounters with God. And in that sense, it's not that dissimilar from someone who's never met Jesus, because you can't just go through your life inheriting your parents' faith, right?
Yeah.
How do you guys facilitate that? Like, how do you make space as you lead the youth in our church to ensure that they're kind of getting their own impactful moments with God that they'll remember?
Yeah. So when we run youth ministry, everything we do, we give them a choice. So they're at the age now where they're not forced to be a Christian, to be a follower of Jesus. They, not forced to come to church. Or if they are, they're, you can't force them to engage. And so in everything we do, it's always a choice. You can choose this, but at every camp, every conference, we try to every Friday night give an opportunity for them to commit their lives to Jesus, especially for the ones that have grown up Christian their whole lives. This is the time now where they have to choose for themselves. You can't force them to go and have a life with God, go have a prayer life. That's something they have to choose for themselves. So how we see our role is as youth pastors is really just to inspire them, to show them who God is and who Jesus is, who they are, um, and and
Yeah.
and then they can choose that,
Yeah.
and always give them the opportunity to choose that.
Yeah.
And we let them take their time. I think that's so important.
Yeah.
A youth can come into our youth ministry every Friday for a year, never having made that personal choice for themselves, and they belong. We make sure they belong. We're patient. We build relationship. We love them, because at the end of the day, no one can make that decision but them. So we try to, in everything we do, create an environment where they belong, and then inspire them and point them to Jesus. But yeah, we wait for them.
Yeah, that's beautiful. When we go back into the Word, we teach them. At no moment Jesus said, you're going to inherit the kingdom of God because of your parents. But it does say you will enter the kingdom of God because you confess with your mouth. So literally, we always say, you need to decide for yourself. Coming to youth ain't gonna take you to eternity with Jesus, but you gotta go back to what it's all about, right? It's about Him. It's about Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.